Welcome to Fear and Greed, the week ahead. I'm Adam Lang, and on Monday mornings, we're joined by economist Stephen Koukoulas. You'll find him at thekouk.com and on X using the handle TheKouk. Stephen, very good morning to you.
And a very good morning. I think I had too many chocolate Easter eggs over the weekend, but hey, I'll get over it.
Stephen, before we get to what's coming up this week, let's have a quick chat about last week. It was a short week, but there was still plenty of data. We had monthly inflation, retail sales, job vacancies. How did you see it?
Yeah, they were all erring on the side of weakness, I think it's fair to say, or confirming that inflation's under control. If we go back a couple of weeks, we had that blow-away labour force number, which I think on reflection now no one believes, 116,000 jobs in 1 month. I think we'll wait and see for the next month, but that was the odd one out.
It was incredible.
It was incredible. It was weird. And I think the ABS might have their seasonal factors wrong. But, and this is the but, all through last week, we had confirmation that inflation's continuing to weaken, 3.4% in annual terms. But if you look at the last 6 months, it's only increasing, this is inflation, at an annualised pace a little over 2%. So that deceleration in inflation that we've been hoping to see is still coming through. You then throw in the job vacancies numbers, minus 6% in the 3 months to February, down about 25% over the last 18 months. That is a clear signal. That sort of growth rate, that deceleration, is something that you only see when the economy is really slowing. So confirming that, maybe that labour force number will be quickly unwound in the next couple of months. And even retail sales up 0.3 in February. But as the statistician noted, the only growth was people buying sequined clothes at Taylor Swift concerts. So, Tay, you did help the economy for 1 month, but you've gone home. So we probably need something else to keep us going.
Stephen, would you describe this as a little more than tapping on the brakes?
Look, I think so. And Adam is quite right, because you've got to put in context even the most recent data that we actually have on GDP, the whole economy, rather than building approvals or retail spending and all these other bits and bobs which go up to make GDP, of course. But what was the December quarter? We know that was recording growth of just 0.2%, 0.2. Per capita terms, it was minus 0.3. So those people looking for something of a bit of a recovery, even a gentle rebound in the first quarter of 2024 are probably going to be disappointed, because we do know that, as we were just saying, retail sales were weak. We know that things like building approvals were also trending down. So we're not building as many houses. We're still getting lots of anecdotes of, building and construction companies going belly up, which is not a good sign, of course. So the weakness in the economy is still there.
So, Stephen, turning to this week now, we've got a number of data sets coming through: house prices, building approvals, job ads, international trade, and the RBA board minutes. Give us your view. What are you seeing in the week ahead?
Yeah, look, again, important sort of stuff. We sort of know that on house prices, because CoreLogic publish them, on a daily basis. So we'll just get that rounded out number. Probably a monthly increase of about 0.5, 0.6%, which is slower than it was a year ago, but it's still going up. This is the extraordinary thing with all these interest rate hikes. They've been swamped by incredible demand from population, something that we hear a lot about in the media, the very high levels of immigration, and not much supply, underbuilding of property. So they're going to be continuing to grow. The thing that I would like to emphasise about the house price cycle right now is the divergence. So, for example, you're probably going to get cities like Hobart and Melbourne with basically zero growth over the last year, whereas Perth and Adelaide will be plus 15 to 20%. And I think Adelaide's even going to be a more expensive city than Melbourne soon, which people who live in Adelaide would probably justify it. But it is amazing. This divergence from city to city is going to be highlighted in these numbers that come out on the house price side. Other data, building approvals. Gosh, we've had this conversation for years now that we're not building enough houses. And I'm afraid these building approvals numbers will confirm that yet again. Some small increase in building approvals expected, but we're really falling short by a good 25% on the number of new housing starts that we need to house all these people coming in. So that'll be another bit of a soggy number. And then international trade, one thing that we are doing well, we're exporting our pants off. People are still buying, or the Chinese in particular, buying our iron ore and our LNG and all that sort of stuff. So we're probably going to be running a really chunky international trade surplus. So on the data, that's that score. RBA minutes, that's the minute where Michelle Bullock, the RBA governor, changed her rhetoric. Rather than saying, we've got a bias to tighten interest rates, she said, I cannot rule anything in or out when it comes to interest rate settings. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of emphasis they're putting on, that slowdown that we were just discussing, that deceleration in inflation that's clearly happening. So we'll be looking at the minutes, not for any great insights as are they about to cut interest rates, that is, but what's their thinking on these myriad of issues that are confronting the economy.
So, Stephen, just on China, we've seen some words coming out of the country about supporting growth and 5% being a target. How are you seeing that as a factor here?
Really important. Now, on China, I always end up being an optimist. When there are things like we're seeing now, the capex overhang, the oversupply of dwellings, the overinvestment that's been evident for some years now, there's still dominant problems. The non-bank sector's under some financial stress too. But whenever I see those things and think, if this is the time that China's going to have its hard landing, that'd be huge news for Australia, of course, because they take a third of our exports and pay us a very, very high price for a lot of our commodities that we just dig out of the ground. But then I see, as you alluded to, the central bank, the government, without the hassle, dare I say, be a bit cynical for a minute, without an opposition party, without a Senate, without elections to face, they just implement policies to grow their economy. They don't send things off to the Chinese Productivity Commission or whatever. They want to grow the economy. So when there's a problem, they fix it. They get the economy growing, and that gives me optimism that while there's still some pretty significant problems structurally in the Chinese economy, I think they're going to overcome them through this, as you said, this stimulus that we've seen. We've already seen the Chinese cut interest rates. That's the interesting thing that they've been confronting too. So on China, I'm cautious, but at the end of the day, I end up being upbeat.
That's fantastic perspective. Stephen, have a great week.
Thank you, Adam. You too.
That was economist Stephen Koukoulas, better known as The Kouk. You can find him at thekouk.com and follow him on X using the handle The Kouk. I'm Adam Lang, and this is Fear and Greed, the week ahead.